Circus is coming, and the Austin Museum of Art is kicking off the season with its newest exhibit, the Circus in 20th Century American Art. Our own Laura Whitley over there this morning to check this out. Lots of circus life in these paintings, huh?
Yeah, definitely, Joe. You know, you get to see actually all aspects of the circus life here at the Austin Museum of Art. We're joined this morning with by the executive director, Dana Friis-Hansen. And Dana, you guys actually have more than about 90 exhibits in here?
Yeah, it's really wonderful. It's great. We have painting, sculpture, photography, video art. It starts at the turn of the century and goes all the way up to the last. It focuses on 20th century American art.
Now, part of the title is Images from the World in Between. What does that mean?
Well, it's a very interesting sort of poetic allusion to the fact that the circus is a very special place. The circus is not everyday reality, but it's also it's a place where you sort of go to escape. I mean, you talk about people running away to the circus. But it's also a place of extreme excitement, extreme drama, extreme thrills. There's the acrobats, there's the horses, and all the animals and the excitement of that, and the trained, skilled aspects. But there's also the clowns and the playfulness. There's the sideshows and the eccentricities and the sort of extensions of human existence. So it plays around with all those different aspects of the circus.
Now, a lot of that drama actually does come from the acrobats and the trapeze artists. And tell me a little bit about this
this
piece.
is a wonderful sculpture by the 1960s sculptor George Siegel, who did environmental installations with figures. And so I think this captures the intense sense of concentration that's necessary for the trapeze artist, and also the fact that a sort of radical way of installing art, hanging it from the ceiling.
Now, we're actually in the front of the exhibit, and I wanted to show some of the other pieces you guys had. And at the beginning, you also start with what was going on in communities when the circus actually came to town, a real event.
Yeah, well, when you come into the exhibition, you'll start seeing on the first wall a lot of paintings and photographs about the circus coming to town. And this is a wonderful picture by Reginald Marsh, who's one of the most important early 20th century American painters. And it shows the hubbub and excitement and the sort of mix of the crowd of people in anticipation of the circus outside in the sideshows. This is at Coney Island in Wonderland. We also have the tents going up, and we have the transformation of a small, let's say, farming community. When the circus comes to town, a whole city is created. An industry moves in, and they set up their tents, and then when it gets dark, the excitement begins. So that's something that these artists were fascinated with, using the circus as an opportunity to explore a range of different things, visual as well as metaphorical.
Now, you guys actually have some exciting events going on sort of to tie into the exhibit to real life.
Yes, we do. We have a film series, two separate film series, one for children and families where there's an activity going on, a creative activity, and then a film, and then also a wonderful series of events for adults that take place at the AMOA-Downtown, where people can come for a drink and see the exhibition beforehand and then wander down. So on our website, and there's a handout at the museum, you can find out all about that. And then coming up this Friday, we have a wonderful event in collaboration with the Ringling Brothers Circus that is coming to town, which we can talk a little bit about in this later on.
Yeah, we'll do that. And it's going to be at 10 o'clock on Friday. And if you'd like to come see the exhibit, their times are up there on your screen. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Thursdays from 10 to 8, and on Sundays from noon to 5. So lots of opportunities to come down here. Joe? Kevin?
Yeah, lots of cool stuff, Laura. Thank you. We'll check back in with you. Coming up after the break, Dennis De La Peña.
Potential to lead normal lives if they're separated.
The circus art exhibit at the Austin Museum of Art, well, it doesn't clown around.
Yep, so to speak. In fact, the collection includes some very serious pieces. Our own Laura Whitley is checking it all out for us this morning. Laura, what do you got?
Well, actually, Joe, we've been taking a look around, and we're actually in one of the rooms that has many different portrayals of clowns. There's all kinds of really interesting stuff here at the Austin Museum of Art. We're joined this morning by the executive director, Dana Friis-Hansen, and tell us about some of the different beautiful paintings you guys have in here.
Well, it's very exciting because we have a number of masterpieces. This is one of my personal favorites. It's by John Sloan, one of the most important early 20th century American artists. It's called Clown Making Up. And I think it's fantastic painting just in terms of the way that he moves the paint around, and artists are especially excited about his work. But I also think it gives you a sense of what it means to be a clown. You're transforming your own identity into something that is an act, and yet at the same time there's this question, how much of it is it the real person, how much of it is an act? It's this transformation that's happening that's played out in this painting. Whereas on the other hand, this is from 1910. Much later, in the 2 decades later, in 1933, Paul Sample painted this quite surreal painting. It's called Clown Reading. And I think it's quite interesting. He pictures the scene in Clown Alley, where in the background you can see clowns washing their faces and getting made up and getting ready for the circus. This guy obviously has gotten ready, and he's sitting down and reading a book, which is a little bit strange for clowns because he's contrasting the intellectual activity in the interior world of reading a book, of escaping to another world, with what the clown does for the people who go to the circus, is providing entertainment and excitement and buffoonery. There's also the real clown and then the dummy clown.
And you actually really, I mean, a lot in this exhibit of different clowns, you get to see sort of behind the scenes what's going on.
Well, a lot of American artists were very interested in the circus, both the spectacle and the drama and what happens for the focus of entertainment, and then also what's going on behind the scenes. There's a wonderful series of photographs by Bruce Davidson from the late 1950s and 60s of clowns, this clown dwarf, that are really quite stirring. I mean, this is someone who devoted his life to entertaining, and yet at the same time, Davidson goes behind the scenes and shows aspects of his life as on the road as a circus performer.
Some of them are kind of sad.
Yeah,
I mean, you expect a clown to be, you know, up and happy. And
yeah, well, I think that there's this element of tragedy as well as comedy, which is part of all the best entertainment. And so it's almost Shakespearean in some ways. And the best visual artists are able to capture that. There's also a nobility of the everyday life. And so what's wonderful is that there's some great works of art that show the wide range of the activity that goes on around the circus.
And this is all part of circus art in the 20th century.
Yeah, the
art?
exhibition is called The Circus in 20th Century American Art, Images of the World Between. It's on view through the 18th of August. So it's a great show for people of all ages. There's lots of things to see and talk about. And so
And we'll
we're
have
very
much more for you
excited.
guys. Super. We'll have much more in a little bit.
All right, Laura, thanks so much. Up next on Fox 7.
Of a snag, we'll tell you what happened. And the circus headed into town, and the Austin Museum of Art is getting people in the spirit. We'll go check in with Laura Whitley in a minute. Get all this done.
See how it goes. The Austin Museum of Art is giving people a chance to see what life under the big top looks like in the art world. Let's check in with Laura Whitley. She is at the newest exhibit this morning, and a lot of clowns in this exhibit, right?
Yeah, lots of clowns, Catherine. We took a look at some of those earlier, and actually they have so much color and different types of images here at the Austin Museum of Art. We're here with Dana Friis-Hansen, the executive director, and there's over 90 pieces of works of art in this exhibit. And some of these pictures we've been looking at are actually sort of what you might, this is actually called circus rehearsal.
Yes, this is Gifford Beale. This is from the early part of the century. This artist was especially lucky because he was hired to work with the circus. He helped out, but he also got behind the scenes. So he experienced what the circus process was, the coming to town, the setting up, getting ready. And so here you see a very formal circus with men in top hats, but there's a hubbub of activity. And over here we have this wonderful scene, a very triumphant entry of the elephants. This is called Circus, Ring, and Elephants. It's from Gifford Beale.
Very
It's
colorful.
a more impressionistic style. And what's wonderful about this exhibition is you have all different kinds of art. You have early 20th century paintings as well as video art and installations and sculpture made in different materials.
And I noticed this exhibit really gives people a look at different, the circus through different time periods and things like that as well.
Yes, we're especially excited about that. And the way that the show is set up, we work sort of thematically and chronologically. And so right now we're looking at early 20th century paintings by very important people. This is John Marin. We have Milton Avery right over here.
This one's really interesting. I was commenting, it almost looks like a circus in a dream or something.
Yeah, well, that's what's wonderful about the opportunity for the circus is it is a very special place. It's a very special world. And so this is the animal room in one exhibition. We focus on the different types of animals. What would a circus be without animals? but throughout art history. If you think Leonardo and Delacroix and many other artists have been interested in drawing and painting animals for all the vitality that they offer and the personality.
Now, you guys actually have a very special event coming up this Friday at 10 in the morning.
We do. We're very excited about a circus on Congress in front of the museum at 9th, between 8th and 9th Streets and on Congress Avenue. We have special guests from the Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus, which will be in town at the same time. They're going to come, and we're going to have special events for the whole family.
And so it's kind of going to incorporate both their artwork, explain
Yeah,
a little bit
well,
more.
what's wonderful is that, that the timing worked out perfectly, that we have all this great art about the circus, and at the same time the circus is here, and I know that you'll be visiting that morning. But what's great is for many people who have never been to a circus, children and people who haven't had that opportunity, it'll give them an opportunity to see elements from the circus and also see the artwork from the past century that is installed in the museum.
Great. Well, lots of interesting stuff going on here, Catherine. And of course, if anybody is interested in coming seeing the exhibit, they're open various times every day throughout the week. Monday, actually,
Except for Monday.
except for Mondays. Open Tuesday through Sundays at various times. And this runs through the 18th.
Through the 18th of August, so it's a good summer show. It's something that you can take the whole family to.
Super. Great. Catherine?
Yeah, it looks really cool. Thanks, Laura. We appreciate it. Coming up on Fox 7 News.
Promises the working relationship between the two state universities will remain a part of his legacy.
This is the first time the two presidents have switched roles.
Part of Austin's busy Congress Avenue looked like a circus today.
Bravo, Asia! Please, a big round of applause for Asia!
Crowds gathered in front of the Museum of Art to watch as the Ringling Brothers circus elephants tried their trunks at artwork. Next, they grabbed a little fresh produce to snack on. Then the clowns gave a little show for the kids and the parents lined up all the way along Congress. A contortionist also wowed the youngsters while there. It's all a big preview for the circus performances to come at the Irwin Center this weekend. Coming up on
If you're into interesting and quirky technology, especially gadgets from Mad Scientist movies, check out the Rude Mechanical Science Fair this weekend. Bob Branson spoke earlier with Mark Holzbach about this special science fair.
Okay, we're standing here with a couple of guys dressed as mad scientists, and they are for a reason. Go. Mark, tell us what the event is that we're promoting here.
We're going to have an event called Mad Science on Sunday at the Austin Lyric Opera Duclos Hall at 901 Barton Springs Road. It's going to be a mad science fair, which includes some gadgets that we brought to the studio today, like Blair Boberg and his theremin.
That's amazing, and people will recognize this when Blair plays this. Let's move out of the way so he can do some of that. I want one of these. I absolutely have to have one. I don't know what I'll do with it.
Blair's playing the theme to a play called Requiem for Tesla, which this event is a benefit for.
Okay, so you're raising money with the science fair.
That's right.
Okay.
And it's a benefit.
And to put on a play.
That's right, to put on a play.
Is it an opera or a musical?
No, it has a lot of music, and Blair is a big part of that, and there's also some other musicians. But it's a play put on by the Rude Mechanicals Theater Collective, which is a well-known group of thespians here in Austin. And this play, that particular play, is to celebrate the life of Nikola Tesla.
I was going to ask you, who was Tesla?
Good question, and it's too bad that people don't know who he is already, because he was an important inventor who actually invented radio, alternating current, and one more thing.
Well, so there's other guys that got credit for this.
Yeah.
Which was the other? Fluorescent lighting.
Oh, a remote control.
Oh, remote
Also,
control.
yeah,
Well, we
that's
couldn't
right.
live without that,
That's
obviously,
right.
not in our business. But I thought Marconi invented radio, and I thought that
That's
Westinghouse
right.
did alternating current.
Right. Well, Nikola Tesla worked with Westinghouse. In fact, he let Westinghouse take the lion's share of the profits on that, unfortunately. He died penniless in 1941.
You tell me he was kind of borderline a mad scientist.
Yes, he was. He's the model for the mad scientist, I think.
Tremendous. So tell us about when this is, where it is, what the tab is at the door.
Okay, it's $10 to get in for adults, $5 for kids that are 6 to 12, and it's free for 6 and under. And it starts from 1 o'clock and goes until 4 o'clock on Sunday at the Austin Lyric Opera, DeClue Hall, 901 Barton Springs Road.
Well, now, if you pay the $10, we're going to have a chance to play the ultimate air guitar here.
You will. There's a lot of interactive science. In fact, you'll be able to, for an extra donation, make your own hologram that you can take home with you. And also, you'll be able to watch the Tesla coil, which throws off giant sparks, which are just amazing. And there's other 3D images to watch and other musical instruments to play, and a lot of fun for the whole family.
Tremendous. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much, Brian.
If the Super Bowl is not your thing, but science is, the fair is set to take place tomorrow from 1 to 4 at the Austin Lyric Opera Hall. That's located at 901 Barton Springs Road. Admission is $10 for ages 13 and older, $5 for ages 7 to 13, and children under 6 get in free of charge.
Sparks were flying at this fair for people interested in mad science. Rude Mechanicals, a local theater group, held the interactive event to raise money for its company and is left in, a patient has a 5% chance of developing a urinary tract infection. Coming up Tuesday, how some of the medicines you may be taking for headaches may be making them worse. Sparks flew at a science fair in Austin yesterday. A local theater group put on the event to raise money for its company. As News at Austin's Ann Dolgan explains, the play the group's performing now inspired the idea for the science fair.
It was a chance to make music without instruments and see lightning created right before your eyes.
There's no science museum in Austin. There's a lot of people who would love to go to a science exhibit, but there's nothing nearby. So why not have a benefit that's also a science fair?
It's a benefit based on technology for a local theater group, Rude Mechanicals. The combination of science and theater may seem unlikely. The troupe came up with the idea because of the play they're performing. It's about the life of genius inventor Nikola Tesla.
Featuring some things here that are inspired by Nikola Tesla's work, others that just sort of branch off from that original work.
If you put a piece of paper in there, it would catch fire immediately.
Tesla's inventions include the remote control and alternating current, something necessary to generate electricity.
Wow, I've been here for that. With these beams of light, and a computer would tell these sensor things that were on the floor what sound to make when you interrupted the beam of light. It was really fun, and I really enjoyed it.
Most of this fun created by a man who died 60 years ago, but is still inspiring future scientists and even theater groups. Ann Dolgan, News 8 Austin.
And Rude Mechanicals performs Requiem for Tesla, and that's until February 9th. It happens at the Off Center.